Hi, I'm Frank, and today I'm going to show you how triggering works with PXI oscilloscopes and InstrumentStudio. To do that, I'm going to use my PXI chassis, which has an SMU outputting a simulated clock signal to a load that has capacitance on it. I've also probed that capacitive load using my oscilloscope on channel 0. So let's get started here in InstrumentStudio, but first I'm going to look at that simulated clock signal on the SMU panel. So you can see that we have a little bit of overshoot here and then undershoot on the low side. And the rise time is maybe a little bit longer than I want. Well, we can also switch over to the scope panel, and we can see that I'm also seeing the same kind of behavior on my oscilloscope. Of course, my waveform is bouncing around, so I'll set the trigger, the edge trigger, down here so that it stabilizes the periodic waveform. So far, I've been doing a normal acquisition, which is going to continuously give me new frames. I can change the mode to normal, which is going to wait until the trigger condition is met, and if it's not, it'll just continue waiting. And I can switch to a single acquisition, which will just give me a snapshot in time. Now, InstrumentStudio includes all of the types of triggers that you're used to from your other kinds of box instruments. So I've been using an edge trigger, but I can switch here to a window trigger. And what I want to do with this window trigger is I want to set the window to be the operating parameters of my DUT. So I have a level up here of about, let's say 1.27. This is what my DUT can accept from the overshoot of the clock signal. And then down here, about 0.29. All right, and then we'll do a single acquisition with the normal mode trigger, which is going to say, whenever this signal leaves this window, I want you to trigger and give me a single acquisition. Okay, now you can see that the oscilloscope is waiting for that trigger condition to be met, and it will continue to wait until it is met. So I'm going to change the rise time to be a little bit faster on that simulated clock signal. Now that's going to increase the overshoot and the undershoot, and I want to watch the oscilloscope to see when that overshoot or undershoot exceeds my operating parameters as defined by my window trigger. To do this, I'm going to drag my SMU panel out into a new window, and then I'll have my oscilloscope here on the left, so I can see both at the same time. All right, so in the settings for my SMU, I have some preset modes for changing the rise time of that signal. So far, I've been using a slow mode, so that's why the rise time is slow, but the overshoot, undershoot is low as well. If I change the fast mode, you can see that I triggered my oscilloscope because the overshoot clearly went outside of the window of my DUT's operating parameters. Now I'll rearm that trigger. Yeah, I see that I'm still getting that overshoot that's outside my parameters. But let's say we switch to the normal mode, which is a good balance between that slow and fast. All right, looks like we're not triggering the oscilloscope anymore, and I have a better rise time, and my overshoot undershoot is within parameters. So in this video, we saw how to use triggers with PXI oscilloscopes in InstrumentStudio. Thanks for joining.